Let's look at the volume of pyramids and cones. So we've looked at the how to find the volume of prisms. Okay, so these are slightly different shapes, so they have a slightly different formula. So first of all, what's a pyramid? A pyramid, if you've seen pictures of Egypt, you know what a pyramid looks like. It's just a three-dimensional figure, a 3D figure with a polygon base and triangular sides that meet at a point. Right, so you can see, we have one down here. So the base can be pretty much any shape, but the sides in a pyramid are always triangles. Okay, just like in a prism, the sides were always rectangles. Okay, the bases could be any shape, but the sides were always rectangles. All right, a pyramid is named by the shape of its base. All right, so since all the sides are triangles, then the only thing that's really different about each pyramid is the shape of its base. So we're going to name it different things according to the base. To find the volume of a pyramid, you need to multiply 1/3 by the area of the base and the height. Okay, so this is going to seem a little familiar because you've done it before with prisms, but the area of the base, what did we call that? We called that big B. Okay, and the height we called H. All right, so the height of the pyramid is just the total distance from the vertex. So every pyramid has a vertex, that's this point at the top. So the height is going to be from that point to the base. Okay, it's going to come straight down, and of course, if it's a height, it always makes a right angle, right? So in a pyramid, it goes from the vertex straight down to the base. All right. To find the volume of a pyramid, and then later we'll see this also works for cones, you use the formula V equals 1/3, big B, times H. All right, so how is this different than what we just did? Just the 1/3, right? So all you have to remember with a pyramid is the 1/3 part. All right, so one thing to recall is that when you're multiplying by 1/3, that's the same thing as dividing by what? 3, dividing by 3. Okay, the big B is still the area of the base. So that's going to change depending on what shape your base is. And then H is going to be the height of the pyramid. So again, from the vertex to the base. All right, so let's look at the first example. It says write down the formula. So we're going to look at this and we're going to say, oh yeah, that's a pyramid. And we're going to do 1/3 base times height. All right, so remember we name these according to the base. So what type of base, what shape is our base? It's a rectangle or a parallelogram, right? So it's a rectangular base. So we would say this is a rectangular pyramid. Okay, so pyramid tells me, okay, I need to use this formula. Rectangular tells me the area of the base is going to be base times height, okay, because that's how you find the area of a rectangle. So in this problem, the area is, the base and the height are 8 and 10. So we're going to multiply 8 times 10, which is 80. All right, and then it says multiply by the height. The height goes from the top to the bottom, and so this is 6 inches, so our height is going to be 6. So now we're going to multiply big B times H, so that would be 80 times 6, which is 480. Okay, and then the last step is the 1/3 part. So remember, that's the same thing as dividing by 3. So now we're going to do 1/3 of 480. Okay, so if you can't do that, then just divide it down here. 480, it'll go once. Bring down the 8, it'll go 6 times. And then 0 times. This is equal to 160, and then like for your units, it's going to be in inches, and it's volume still, so cubic inches. So 160 cubic inches. All right, so let's keep going. So in this next one, we can see that the base, okay, so you can even, if it's helpful to see it, the base right here, this is part on the bottom. So here, this is the base here. Okay, that's what made it a rectangular. This is what's making it, that's shape is a triangle. So this is a triangular pyramid. And I know it's a pyramid because of this vertex right here and the triangular sides. Okay, so the formula for a pyramid is 1/3 big B times 8. So now I have to find big B. Okay, because big B is a triangle, I use the area formula 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 the base and the height of this triangle right here, not any other triangle, just the base. It would be 19 times 13. All right, so let's work that out. 19 times 13 is 27, and then 0, 9, 1 would be 247. Then I still have to divide it by 2. So now I'm going to do 2 into 247. I'll go once, twice, 3 times, and then I'm going to have, sorry, I ran out of room here. So 7, and then I subtracted 6, and I got 1, and I bring down the 0, and that's going to be 5 times. Okay, so when I divide by 2, I get this part is equal to 123.5. All right, so then I still have to do the 1/3 and the 123.5, and then the height of this pyramid is 22. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply 123.5 times 22. It's 10, 7, 4, and 2. Start with a 0, 10, 7, 4, and 2. Add those up. And you have one decimal place, so 2,717. All right, so that's this part right here. So then I still have to do the 1/3 part, which is just dividing it by 3. So now I'm going to divide 3 to this number. So 3 will go into 27 9 times. I'm going to bring down the 1, and 3 won't go into 1, so don't forget your 0. Bring down the 7. 3 will go into 7 5 times. And then when I subtract, I get 2, but I need to add a decimal and keep going. So 3 will go into 20 6 times, 18. Gives me 2. I'm going to keep going. 3 will go into 20 6 times. So I can see that this is repeating, and I can stop because on most of these, if I need to round, I'm just going to round to the nearest tenth. All right, so my volume for this one ends up being 905.6 repeating. And this is going to be in inches cubed, cubic inches. So volume is cubic inches. All right, so you can see that we had to do a lot of math to get here. So just be really careful with your digits because that's going to be the hardest part. All right, in this one, I want to start. I can see that it's a pyramid. I need to know what kind of pyramid it is. So I'm going to look at the base. And this is actually, since both sides are the same, this is called a square pyramid. Okay, so if it's a pyramid, then this is my formula. Since it's a square pyramid, big B is going to be base times height, or 8 times 8, which is 64. Okay, so now I have to do, if I go back to my volume, I'm going to do 1/3, 64, times the height of the pyramid, which is 9. Okay, so this is one of those times where I can kind of do one of my shortcuts. I could do 64 times 9 and divide by 3, but I'm looking and I'm seeing that I can divide 9 by 3. That's pretty easy. So if I divide 9 by 3, I get 3. So now I'm just going to have to multiply 64 times 3, which is a lot simpler. All right, so that's 12, 18, 19, which ends up being 192, and this is in cubic centimeters. Okay, let's continue. So again, I can see that this is a pyramid, and you know, these can be flipped around just like the prisms. So like they could turn this upside down. All right, it would still be a pyramid because it's still got this vertex. Here, it's still got the triangular sides. And then before I start finding the volume, I need to know the base. So the base is this shape down here, which is what? It's a triangle. So this is a triangular pyramid. So the formula for a pyramid is 1/3 big B times h, but big B in this case is a triangle. So 1/2 base times height. That would be, for me, 1/2 base times height, make a right angle. I can see the right angle there is 6 times 8. All right, so again, this is one of those times where I can do this in any order. I'm going to do half of 6, which is 3, and then 3 times 8, which is 24. Okay, you could do 48, divide by 2. You could do half of 8, which is 4, and times it by 6. You are going to get 24 no matter what. All right, so now I have 1/3 times 24 times the height. So I'm looking for that right angle again of the pyramid, which is 12. All right, so this time I could multiply 24 times 12, but it's simpler to do 1/3 of 24, or divide 24 by 3. That gives me 8, and then times 12. So if you don't know 8 times 12, shame on you. You should. You can multiply it as 96. And then they didn't give me any units on this one, so I'm just going to write units cubed. All right. Now, a cone is kind of like the cylinder. So the cone is like a pyramid, but it just has a circular base. So it uses the same formula, only the base is going to be what? Pi r squared. So you end up using 1/3 pi r squared times the height. But everything else is pretty much the same. So you're still going to have this vertex. You won't have triangular sides because it's a cone, so it's all just one smooth edge. But the circle part, you're going to see at the bottom. That's going to make it easy to see that it's a cone. All right, so seeing the circle tells me this is a cone. Suppose you could call it a circular pyramid, but it's got its own special name. So if it's a pyramid or a cone, we're using this formula. We need to know the area of the base first. It's a circle. Pi r squared is what we use for that. So then pi is 3.14. The radius is 3. And we need to square it, 3 squared. So 3 squared is 9, 3.14 times 9 is 36, 9, 12, 27, 28. So that's going to be 28.26. So now I have 1/3 times 28.26 times the height of the pyramid, which is 6. Okay, this is easy. 1/3 of 6. I can divide 6 by 3 and get 2. So now I just have 2 times 28.26. So if I multiply 28.26, I get 12, 5, 16, 5. This ends up being 56.52. And it says round to the nearest tenth, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as 56.5 because 2 is not enough to round it. And this is being measured in inches, and it's volume. So volume is 56.5 cubic inches. All right, so you may not want to do this. Maybe you want to multiply by 6 and divide by 3. That's fine. It's up to you. Okay. Number 5. A cone-shaped paper cup is filled with water. The height of the cup is 10 centimeters, and the diameter is 8 centimeters. What is the volume of the paper cup? Round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so this is one of those times where, you've seen those cups before. They're kind of upside-down cones. The height of the cup, so that's from here to here, is 10. And then the diameter, that's all the way across, is 8. So we want the volume of the cup. That's a cone. So start with big B. It's a circle, so pi r squared. Pi is 3.14. The radius, so the diameter is 8, which means the radius is half of that. So that would be 4 squared. Okay, 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. I'm going to multiply those two together. 3.14 times 16, 24, 8, 18. Start with a 0, 4, 1, 3. It's 4, 12, 10, 5, and 2 decimals. So 50.24. So now I have 1/3 times 50.24. And then the height of my cone is 10. Okay, so if I do 50.24 times 10, I get 0, 0, 0. Start with a 0, 4, 2, 0, 5. Or 0, 4, 2, 0, 5. And move it over 2 places. So that becomes 1/3 of 502.4. Okay, or you may just know multiplying by 10 moves your decimal once. And that's a nice little shortcut. And the last step is to multiply by 1/3, which is the same thing as dividing by 3. So 502.4. So 3 will go into 5 once. That gives me 2. Bring down my 0. 3 will go into 20 6 times. gives me 2, bring down the 2, 3 will go into 22 7 times. It's 21, that gives me 1. Bring up the decimal, bring down the 4. 3 will go into 4 times, which is 12. I subtract, I get 2, bring down another 0. 3 will go into 20 6 times with a remainder of 2 again. So if I kept going, I could see that the 6 is going to repeat. But it's asking me to round to the nearest tenth, so I don't even really need to know that because I'm going to round this anyway. So I get 167.46 repeating, but rounded, this is 167.6 is enough, right? 5 or more to round the 4 up 1. So this becomes a 0.5, and this is in centimeters, and it's cubed, or cubic centimeters because it's volume. All right, guys, so that is the volume of pyramids and cones, just the same as the prisms, only you're going to have to divide it by 3. All right, see you soon.